This is Tim, and he's the sort of lad who would be right at home in an episode of the Scrap Heap Challenge. He's built a budget railway system to help him and his wife Sandra on their farm on the wet and wild west coast of Ireland. He's also built a couple of trains or locomotives, one powered by a gas cylinder and one that uses a very clever continuous variable transmission, as well as a whole heap of other things around the farm, including an electric pedal car and a rather terrifying momentum wheel used to make charcoal. He also has a YouTube channel with a very vocal community of viewers who love helping overcome the various engineering challenges he faces. And today, he showed me around.
The railway isn't just, a toy. It's a useful, I hope, functional part of the farm because we don't have a tractor, but we need to move heavy things around. Timber, charcoal, and farmyard manure for the garlic beds. The track, thanks to you and a few other people, is now finished. And theoretically, I can bring all the muck around and put it on the garlic beds out there, which I shall have to do soon.
Why no tractor?
Money. Also, we have horses that would do the job, so we don't need both. But the problem with the horses, don't tell Sandra now, they can be a little heavy-footed and clumsy, and I want something very delicate around the newly planted garlic. We've stopped ploughing because it's too wet, too much erosion. We could, in fact, pull the wagons with a pony or a donkey or a horse, but Sandra's been too busy to train them to do that. So in the meantime, I knocked up the locomotive. I'm hoping that the donkeys really will, do their job and pull the wagons full up of muck, because they are much tidier where they walk. They tend to walk in a very narrow straight line, whereas horses can sort of pull around all over the place, and they can make a big splodgy mess of the place. And with a railways are great because they have such a small amount of friction on the wheels that even heavy weights can be pulled by children or horses or people. This is a compressed air locomotive that I put together out of bits and pieces, and it actually works. And probably not terribly efficiently, but it's kind of fun. And this used to be a root chopper or furze chopper, this wheel. So close. It's working. The problem with this, the only problem is that I don't have a compressor strong enough to fill that tank. But if I did, this thing would go huffily-puff up and down the rails. No bother. If I could really fill it up to its capacity, probably only a half an hour, but it would still be, yeah. What I need is a scuba tank filling compressor, but they're a lot of money. Don't have lots of money. Okay, so this is the second locomotive that I've been working on. This is old 1963 engine, just that part of it. I made the wheels and this interesting drive system, which is a constant variable transmission, CVT, where this bit is spun by the engine, and this bit is you can choose where you want that to be, and that gives you your variable speed and direction.
And that's connected with the chain
to the sprocket on the wheel.
On the wheel.
And then I drew and cut those sprockets, so that's quite exciting because it's a big sprocket to slow it right down.
On the plasma? On
the plasma machine, yep.
So you see that thing
slowly. And back the other way. After. In there is my plasma cutter. You can see what it's capable of doing, cutting sprockets out, amongst other things. You have to be able to draw the picture on the computer and then just tell the computer what to do. And when it works, it's like magic. Absolutely fantastic. Because how long would it take to do that by hand? So this is what I mean about what a wonderful time we live in many ways. Pretty shitty in other ways, but you know, this is one of the things. When I was growing up, these things would have cost, you know, 100, 200,000, and very few factories had them. And now you can buy it for a handful of thousands, and you can have one in your shed. I've made lots of things with it. Parts for the car and locomotive and the hen barrows and many other things. For small scale fabrication, it transforms my projects, because I now think, well, actually I could make that. And if it doesn't work, I'll change it slightly and cut it again. That is something that I just couldn't have afforded to do. If you were cutting this 6mm steel, how would you do that, you know, with a grinder? That's fine for the outside shapes, but if you're trying to cut something, an internal shape, that's a very tricky thing to do. These get cleaned up and the legs get bent over, and this is one of my trivet designs. So I make lots of those. So how would you make those without one of these machines?
You would be there all day.
You would. Whereas this can be cut out in a minute or something.
What are they? What do they do?
Trivets, you know, when you put something on the table and you don't want to burn the table.
Oh,
when
yeah.
you have a hot thing. Yeah, I sell a few and then I get bored and I want to make something else.
Part of the fun.
Yeah. These are pizza steels. Very simple, but they make superb pizzas and other things. Sandra bakes her loaves of bread on it. I can't produce honey anymore because we can't rely on the summers. Too wet often. So I've had to reluctantly get out of beekeeping and struggling to find an alternative. But because I don't really want to go to work. I did that for a while and it's quite exhausting and a bit depressing, isn't it? You know.
Does what you're doing not count as work?
Oh no, I play every day. I try to play every day. But yeah, no, it's working as much as I have to earn a living.
And that's the garlic, the videos.
Yeah, the garlic, the YouTube. I make pizza steels and other things for people. I make things out of wood and metal. I sell plans for the wooden car. I've stopped selling books because I couldn't afford to reprint them. But I've written a couple of books and they sold very well.
What were the books about?
Bees and beekeeping.
Okay.
That's my only profession, really.
Right.
But I do other things because it's also interesting. Everywhere I look, there's something interesting. This is my little car. This is the Mott, which I use often. 2 or 3 times a week, I just go to local town pantry in it.
You made these?
Yeah, this one, a red one and a green one. There were others, but they were prototypes. This one is actually, you know, fully functional. It has 8 gears, lights, horn, and carrying capacity. A little bit grubby down there, but never mind. A little bit at the back in there as well.
What, a pedal-assisted electric?
Yes, it's a bicycle technically, with hydraulic brakes, capacity to go, I don't know, 30 miles or something on a single charge. Depends how much help you need.
And you sell plans for that, do you?
I do, sell plans. Do you want to take it outside?
Sure.
Yes, it is, isn't it? It is quite cool. I always wanted one of these sort of things since I was a small child, and now I have one. So I like shapes, I like designing things, but I'm not very good at marketing, and I get bored easily and distracted easily. Well, no, sorry, I don't get bored. I get distracted by the next thing, that whatever I've done leads on to something else. I don't give enough time to marketing and sales. So I spend a long time making things, and then I get so far and I make about 6 of them and sell them, and then I'm on to something else then. So
I feel like that's the maker's curse.
isn't it?
You want to make, you don't want to market.
Yes, exactly.
You don't want to do the businessy, boring,
Yeah.
bloody social media and whatever else.
I'm really not very good at that stuff, and I wish somebody would
You're
come
really
along.
good at your videos.
The videos, I have to keep going. Well, I do enjoy the videos, and I learn a lot from the comments. Luckily, I have lots of people who comment all the time. Hundreds of people comment on every video, and some of it's absolute nonsense. But every so often, there's quite a bit of knowledge comes in from people who really know what they're doing. And that's very, very helpful. And I'm stuck here. No, I'm not stuck. I am privileged to live here in West Cork, which is basically the middle of nowhere. I have experts all around the world giving me free advice. I think it's partly because the things that I'm trying to make are within the grasp of everybody. They're not, there's no electronics involved, and there's no computers involved or anything like that. So it's all very tangible, visual. So you can see, for instance, this contraption here, you can see why it works. This is a gear, basically. It slows down the engine. This is a 1947 single-cylinder diesel engine, and it spins at 600 RPM. It doesn't want to speed up, and it doesn't want to slow down. And that's very low speed, really, but it's too fast for some operations. So I could run it through a gearbox to have the output slower, but instead I built this wheel which does the same job. But it's also a flywheel, so it's got weight in it. So when that spins at 600 RPM, this one only spins at 60 RPM because it's 10:1 ratio. So at 60 RPM, you can do something with the output which is slow enough for my needs, slicing wood or grinding up charcoal.
So it's currently in charcoal mode.
It is, yeah. So if I take the clutch off, so that stick lifts up and tightens the belt, but when the belt is slack, I can just show you the wheel spinning. Belt's coming off now, and that circular rotation movement, I've used this thing, which is a Victorian invention, and it turns it into back and forth. Isn't that beautiful?
Plastic.
So in this case, it pushes this bed, which has a blade in it. Of course, charcoal gets put on there, and it comes out finer.
Why do you want finer charcoal?
Because it goes into the soil. It's a soil additive, and that's just a nicer size for adding to the soil. It's part of the soil structure. It's the size of the particles. So there's very small stuff, but there's also some chunkier bits. And I'd like to produce it on a bigger scale again, but I'd have to upgrade everything, and I need to make sure there's a market for it first. But again, do I want to make charcoal all day, every day? Not really. Although I love making it sometimes. This machine will also slice up timber, and then that goes to be dried in the drying tunnel. When it comes out as flakes of timber, like shingles. They get collected in this hopper.
I load the flakes into mesh-sided wagons so the air can move through them. The wagons run on my homemade field railway, which means I can push them around without needing another engine.
The railway comes down here, normally. I borrowed a bit of it recently.
They go into this drying tunnel for a couple of months where the wind can blow through them easily.
That engine also drives the bandsaw. So there's a drive shaft that runs along here, turns the belt, which turns that. Isn't that a beautiful old bandsaw? Again, I don't know how old it is, but certainly over 120 years old.
It's the beefiest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yes, exactly. Yes, of course, I had to build the workshop around the shed around it. So the wagon loads of dry wood chips come along the railway track at the top. They drop down into that hopper, and then from the hopper I can throw it into the kiln. This is a very crude and simple kiln, but it works beautifully. It's called a cone kiln, and it makes lovely charcoal.
So that's a batch ready to go?
Yep.
Or ready to be put into the
Yep.
shredder?
Yep.
Slicer?
And then
Grinder.
it will be inoculated.
What does that mean?
When this charcoal is made, it's all hot and flaming and glowing red and white, and then I quench it with cold water. It splits the charcoal, which is what activated charcoal is, and then those fissures, those little splits, they can be filled with microbes, and if you fill them with microbes, then as soon as you put it on the soil, it's beneficial to the soil.
Okay.
I make tea out of compost and seaweed and horse manure and all that, and that makes tea that goes into the ground up charcoal. So I'm selling a product which is good for the plants and good for the soil, because all the microbes that are in the charcoal can migrate in and out from the rest of the soil all around it. She rarely makes films anymore because she's too busy,
Yeah.
but we were making films all the time between us.
What's she doing?
I'll show you.
Let's have a look.
Sandra and I used to share the same workspace, as you saw. So I was trying to cut things out and weld things together, and Sandra was trying to work with children at the same time.
Yeah.
And that really didn't work very well for either of us. So she spent 3 years fundraising and applying for grants so that she's able to build a new barn for her project, which is called Hairy Henry, and it's a therapeutic riding establishment. And she works with children of different capacities and needs, and not just children, but mostly children. And she has a whole variety of very well-trained, lovely animals. Not always, but often there's a connection between the child and the animal, and the horse or the sheep or the guinea pig or whatever it is, which makes some satisfactory progress. It's quite something to see, actually. It's quite remarkable sometimes the effect a small child can get leading a large horse. All the animals that we have, none of them pretend anything ever. They are utterly straight, very easy to communicate with, unlike humans. Lots of people find it a struggle to communicate with the adults around them, whatever it is, and they shut down or they go hyper or something, and then they get into trouble, and it's a vicious circle. But if they have to communicate with a horse in a different way, they might not need any words at all. They have to learn quickly, because these are big, powerful animals.
Yep.
And they have to be straight with those animals. They can't mess around with them. Once that connection is made, then they feel they can build trust and confidence and communication that can then spread back into their human interactions. God, that was quite good, wasn't it? It sounded like I knew what I was talking about.
I mean, it certainly does.
Let me find a fig. Can you reach that brown one up the top? Is that one? That might be one of the first ones.
That one there?
Yeah. That one's, somebody's had that one already.
Mm-hmm.
We were just a little bit late. See this?
Yes.
This is part of Donkey Bingo, Donkey Poo Bingo. We had a fundraising here a couple of weeks ago. So you buy a ticket, and if you're lucky enough to have poo on your square by the end of the afternoon, then you win a prize.
It's like one person, one loads.
Yeah, well, that hasn't been mucked out for a little while. Sandra does some eventing with her horse. She also enables children to go and show one of the ponies good riding or jumping or something in the shows or the gymkhanas or things. Sometimes all they do is sit on a horse and get ridden around, and they might get a rosette, and it makes their day.
I'm assuming Henry was the name of, is the name
Of
a horse.
a horse. He's still around.
Yeah.
He's not actually here at the moment. He's on another piece of land that she rents. But he'll be back tomorrow. So I made the gates and the gate posts for Hairy Henry. This is what it's all about. All this wonderful stuff. We do something called no-dig gardening, no-dig growing, because of the erosion. So it means that we have to mulch to keep the weeds down. So we mulch with muck and with straw.
So the idea with the train coming out here is that you can walk.
The plan is to have wheelbarrows here, fill them up here, go through a gate which hasn't been put in yet, through in this fence, straight down to the platform where the waiting train will be. You can see it over there. And I hope a locomotive or a donkey to pull it. So from here we'll be going to go all the way around 400 yards of railway track, the longest railway in West Cork, all the way to the garlic beds where the muck will be used and turned into garlic.
And the cycle is complete.
And the cycle is, well, yes, I suppose so.
How much longer do you think it takes you to do something when you're trying to make a video of it?
It can take 3 times as long, can't it? Because you have to go and get the camera and set it up and move it, and then, oh, that didn't work, and then, you know, or I just did that and I've got to film it.
Yeah.
I enjoy mostly what I do. I even enjoy making films, but mostly I enjoy the feedback. I am exploring and experimenting all the time with everything I do because I really don't know what I'm doing. But that is also exciting, and I think perhaps some people pick up on that, you know, they're living, they might be in a high-rise in New York or something, and they're excited to see what it, as close as you can get to, you know, experimenting through me, through my little camera, and then I can be here in my little wooden house and upload something, and how incredible is that? If it wasn't for YouTube, I might have to be back up on roofs working for other people, and my knees just couldn't cope. And actually, I think mentally I couldn't cope. I just, because I've got older and older, and my experience is, you know, two children of mine have died.
Oh God, sorry
and
to hear
yeah, it's very. Lots and lots of people have the same experiences, but what it did for me was, of course, remind me how short life is, and how meaningless everything is. Yeah. So why waste your life doing some crappy little job that makes you ill or, you know, damages your knees, if you can possibly do something else? And there's so many other things to do. Life is just so full of opportunities every day. So I'm just, you know, very happy that I can explore some of those.
Wise words, Tim. Thank you very much for showing us around your mad little farm. Some of the clips that I've used have come from the 2 YouTube channels that Sandra and Tim run, so be sure to check those out to see more. Links to those and for more information on Hairy Henry are in the description below. And if you like this video and want to see more of this sort of thing, please give it a like, because it really helps small channels like mine.